Shall I do it documentary style? I could do like, you know those, is it Country File with that woman everyone fancied?
I don't know.
She would like stomp across. Why are we here today? In beautiful Appledore. Except we're not really in Appledore anymore, are we? We walked somewhere else.
We're here so you could get your windows for your truck.
What windows did I get?
Glass ones.
From?
The Devon Caravan something.
Recyclers.
Recyclers.
This is just a super quick introduction to this rather disjointed video. Loads has happened. Well, I say loads has happened. I have spent quite a lot of time, even though perhaps it doesn't look like much has happened. But the crucial thing that is happening at the moment is that we are sealing the roof. I say we, my friend Max has helped me a lot recently with it, because it's just kind of one of those jobs where you could possibly do it on your own as one person, but holding stuff up while trying to do other stuff is quite difficult. It just really helps having an extra pair of hands. So yeah, sealing the roof. The roof has been leaking. I kind of assumed in the beginning that it was just condensation because obviously all the wool is still in there, but unfortunately we were there the other day and it was pissing it down, and yes, it's definitely dripping away. So I went to my trusty like fan conversions pages that I follow on Facebook. I've mentioned before, I think the 7.5 ton and over page on Facebook is full of brilliant people with brilliant advice, and there they advised me to purchase a product called Cromapol, which is like an acrylic roof resin.
Yeah.
It's like alien goo. God, is it supposed to be that solid?
Yes.
It's all sticky. It has fibres in it. It's basically like really thick paint, but it's got fibres in it, and it's sort of like plasticky, and it basically just seals anything, because I was quite concerned about what could be used on the fiberglass, but it turns out that loads of people on you know that Facebook page have used the same product and had really good results. So Max is actually there right now painting it up for me. I can't do it myself because I literally can't stand the thought of going up ladders. This is the bit that I couldn't do.
Here's your whip.
Yeah, I mean it is high, like let's just understand what this is like. Yeah, I mean that's high for me. That's really high. So Max has rolled Cromapol onto the roof. Do you think it needs a second coat?
Probably, yes.
Do you think it needs a second tub bought?
Don't think so.
Okay, so like one tub has been enough. Should be enough to do 2 coats on the roof of this. And what are you doing with that sealant?
Sealing where the fiberglass meets the sides of the truck.
Yeah, that. I'm not quite sure why, but we'll just let him do his thing. And also I have found a heat gun to remove the attractive wart and sun. Was it you who first made the connection about wart removals?
Yeah, possibly.
Someone I know, and I hadn't actually noticed, but yeah, it just makes so much sense. Wart removals, because who wouldn't want their warts removing? And I've just been doing bits and bobs inside. We've been cleaning because it was really dirty and dusty in there, cleaning all the panels, taking the panels off. We've started to insulate with thermawrap, which I'd kind of decided I was going to do despite having people telling me it was a waste of money because the R value isn't good unless you have a space or something. I'm not really sure, but I actually did want to use it because I've gone round sealing with silicone everywhere I think in the body could possibly spring a leak, but because I'm putting sheep's wool in the walls, like, it's very, very important that it doesn't get wet. I'm using a vapor barrier on the inside anyway, but I wanted something on the outside to kind of sandwich in that wool layer, completely waterproof. And I thought, why not just use the thermawrap? You know, if the worst case scenario, it's just going to keep it dry. The best case scenario is that the tiny thin layer of aluminium or whatever it is, metal, just keep us that little bit warmer, because as you'll see, the actual gap where the wool is going to go is quite thin. You know, I'm not like stuffing it right full. Kind of every little helps, I think. When I really cleaned up the floor, because it was literally had like the dirt of like 20 years on it. Unfortunately, in the corners, possibly where the roof has been leaking for quite a long time, there is a bit of rot in the wood, and I've tried to go underneath and see how bad it is from underneath, but unfortunately the place where it's the worst is actually right under where the diesel tank is, and I literally just can't see. So we are considering, once the roof is done, taking up, because the floor's kind of laid in panels, like thick panels, which may or may not be bolted. As I've explained all the way through, I have no DIY skills whatsoever. I hadn't used a drill before like this. You know, it's a huge learning curve for me. So the other thing that we've been doing, or I've been doing, is going around and scraping and inspecting the rust. It can be a little bit frightening, and certainly that's happened again. Unfortunately, a few holes have developed because when you apply the rust treatments, you know, you have to like take the rust. I've been watching like, as ever, YouTube about it. You have to take the rust back to the silver metal. You can't leave any rust because it will just kind of like go underneath and eat away. So, but unfortunately, in some areas of my truck, when I have taken it back to the point of silver metal, you know, it's developed holes. So at some point they're going to need to be welded. They're not massive holes, and it's like all in annoying places, like around the door. Yeah, it's a little bit kind of sad, but then again, I knew, or I should have known, that I was buying, you know, I was buying a truck that 2003, I think it is. So I should have really have known, you know, like rust is going to be an issue, but I just guess, like many things, I just underestimated it, didn't really think about it properly, learned from my mistakes. So these are our rusty bits. Kind of got some, I need to spray this. We have a little hole here, and then I was kind of, the green paint I bought completely doesn't match, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to roll a fresh coat on everything once the lettering's off anyway. But you can see it's pretty nasty. This is the side that's obviously got a lot of the weather and the corrosion. I'm not quite sure what can be done about this, to be honest. I'm going to get my welder to come out and have a look now. So yeah, it's a bit sad, but you know, she old. So this is the like side opening doors, which for some reason they decided to bolt up, and instead of trying to fiddle about to get them once again open, I kind of thought it was unnecessary. So I have decided that it's probably just best to seal it up and use only the back door. So because there's kind of a gap where you can literally see daylight along the outside, just around all these kind of joins and stuff. Yeah, Max thought it was best that we seal it with expanding foam, which I'm not really a fan of, to be honest with you, but it's only going to be a tiny bit just to sort of join all the seals. So I'm kind of okay with it just being a small amount. Do you know how to use that?
No, not good. Ah.
Don't like explode it. Ew. Gross. Is it smelly?
Oh, shit off.
I've kind of seen people do their entire van in insulation with this stuff, but because it contains, it's like cyanoacrylate, it's not really something that I'd want to have in an enclosed space, especially for my kids breathing it in. So do you just like scrape off the excess?
Yeah, it'll like harden into a sort of solid state.
So yeah, we're just gonna seal all the joints. So I just quickly wanted to describe the plan with the insulation. As you can see, we've kind of done a small amount. We're kind of just feeling out. I'm kind of just feeling my way, unscrewing these slats that go across. This is like the aluminium sort of girders or like struts that shape the body, and then these like stabilize the body as far as I can see. So I've literally just been sticking the thermawrap directly here and sealing it with foil tape where it needs to, and then screwing these back on, and it does make holes obviously in the thermawrap, but I'm pretty sure that it's gonna sort of all hold together quite well. Down near the floor, this is where I'm gonna put the wool in, and then with the polythene vapor barrier I'm gonna screw or staple it to the outside of this, and then have it going up and sort of feeding the wool in each slat. And potentially I'm gonna put some kind of like Velcro strips, maybe two. I'm kind of thinking that maybe the wool will sort of slip down, so it's a way of kind of holding it to the thermawrap without using a spray-on adhesive, which I'd really rather not use. And as you can see, what we're doing is taking the thermawrap in its big roll up and over and around.
I'll really annoyingly get quiet and not really talk.
Here's my hired help.
Hired?
Unhired help.
Got more plasters in your car?
Why?
Just to keep it covered.
Go on, show the camera.
What, where I stabbed myself last week helping you?
Yeah. Well, you didn't, you sliced your own finger off with a Stanley knife, didn't you?
No, just the end.
This is how real men put plasters on.
Oh, the plaster's stuck in here now.
It came off your finger already? Did it actually just come off your finger?
No, not the new one.
The one I lovingly prepared for you.
Gross.
Ah. Getting angry now.
Shut up. Stop filming.